This is Rida. She is a childhood friend. We've been together for about 2 decades.
Since we've known each other for 2 decades. I think we've known each other in different shapes and forms.
What was your initial experiences when you got to know that someone who's close to you is losing vision?
It's very difficult to see somebody, love, going through something. Sometimes you think that it's better if it happens to you instead of the other person.
It's easier to be me. Things that you learned being around me.
The biggest thing, subconsciously stopped looking at surroundings.
My vision loss was also gradual, right?
So you think that, okay, now you are also limiting yourself. So use this opportunity to say that everybody needs different kind of support, right?
For this conversation, we are talking to Rida. She is a childhood friend. We've been together for about 2 decades. Apart from my family, she's the person who spent the maximum amount of time around me. We've been together as friends, as she was there when I was doing my first internship in social sector. She was there when I decided to join her startup, Bucket List. So our entrepreneurial journey was also together. She's seen me learn and grow and stumble my way through it. So that outside perspective, along with you, I'm also very curious to ask her all these questions that I've lined up. Also, this is my first time doing this, so please be kind and bear with me. It might look a little unconventional as you might hear my voiceovers here and there, but no big deal. So, everyone, this is Rida. I already shared a bit about our history. We are friends since 2 decades, friends, colleagues. I think we've had multiple relationships during that time as well. So, rest of it, I will let Rida. Rida, please introduce yourself and maybe a bit about how you know me.
It's been 2 decades, really.
Yeah, we are old. We met at 13.
Oh my God, yes. 13, yeah, and we're 33. I didn't even realize.
Exactly. No,
Like it's a decade-old friendship. Like max, I used to go like 12, 15 years we've known each other. But okay, we've known each other for 20
For the
years. Oh my.
rest of your friends, yes, that is true. But for me, it's 2 decades. Sorry. Okay,
Yeah,
tell us.
I think, since we've known each other for 2 decades, I think we've known each other in, different shapes and forms, and like literally shapes and forms. So, gone through many phases and transitions, and I think we did school together. Then we were, separated in college because we went like in different directions, and then united back, I think, when we started working, because I don't think either of us held our respective jobs for too long. I think we got back, with Bucket List. I think it was hardly like in months, not even in years, when
Yeah,
we were working apart. And then too, I remember you coming to my office post work, and we used to hang out in my office. And
yeah.
then, yeah, and then Bucket List happened, of course. And we were in Bucket List for, how many? At least seven,
Seven,
six,
seven.
6, 7
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Yeah, that we, yeah, so did that. And then Sakshi decided to move across continents. Not even in search of love, after finding love, I think.
Okay, but let's also talk a bit about you. So tell us about you. What have you been up to? What have you done in all these years?
I am still where you left me,
Oh, please.
if not worse.
I know that's not true. You went to Cambridge. You have worked increased your work with Bucket List. So I know there's a lot there. Tell us.
Yeah, I think we've increased our work in terms of the communities we work in, with
Mhm.
our work with kids that we had started together. So, we increased communities, but I think the base was set while we were working together only. And then it was, kind of just expanding on the foundation that we had built already. So, and I think post that, I'm doing my second master's in from Cambridge. in social innovation. So yeah, so that's pretty much
Nice.
professionally about me.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that will keep coming up as we go.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's dive. So, as you already know, and I shared with whoever is listening, that this whole conversation is primarily going to be around your experience being a sighted friend or a sighted caregiver or an associated person to a visually impaired person. And since you're the one who's been with me the longest throughout this journey, outside of like parents and family, I mean, I don't know about others, but I'm definitely curious to get into these questions. I don't think I ever asked or you ever shared. We've just been living these things, but we never, I think, verbalized it. That it would be a first in that sense also. So I'm quite interested to hear what you have to say. To begin with, tell me this. What was your initial experiences with when you got to know that someone you who's close to you is losing vision? It's not a momentary thing. I know it's like it's spread out over a period of time. So in retrospect, 13 years ago, what are your initial feelings and thoughts and adjustments you had to do as you kind of got used to the idea that this person, is losing their vision?
Hmm. uh, I think I think the first instinct, when something like this happens, is always denial. I think you stay in denial for the longest of time because, denial and optimism, I would say. That because you think, it's a temporary thing. You're looking at options and, you know, getting a grasp on what happened. So I think either you go in with full optimism that this is going to get better and we'll find a way out, or you just deny the whole thing, which also comes from optimism, I would say, that it's going to get better. So, and I think after that, if it starts sinking in, then I think that feeling when you I think people say that it's very difficult to see somebody love going through something and then you can't do anything about it. So I think that gets difficult, when you can just see, how things are panning out or will pan out, and then you not be able to do anything about it. I think that's the most difficult part because just to be there, I think it's a very difficult thing, just be there for somebody and not do anything about it and not be able to do anything about it. I think that's the most difficult. So I remember that very clearly. Like sometimes you think that it's better if it happens to you instead of the other person. You're imagining scenarios like that, that if it was happening to you, it would be much easier rather than, just sit back and watch it happen to somebody you love.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
always say this whenever I don't know if ever the context happens to be that. I always say this for the past whole decade that it's easier to be me and it's much harder to be someone who loves me. Because not only is the condition very limiting and nobody is able to do anything about it, but also with the limitations for someone like me, I have to go out there, I have to do things, I have to put myself at risk, I have to take risks and everything. And as someone who would love me, it would be really scary. I mean, I can take a risk on my life, but how do you ask your friends or family or someone to let you take risks on your life, So in its own capacities, I think it's much harder to be someone associated to me rather than being me. I fully agree with that.
Yeah,
Okay,
because you don't
so
how you
yeah,
go in, right? Like, do you go in like as a strong person that, oh, Sakshi, be strong, it's all going to be okay, don't lose faith and be strong. Why are you, crying? Why are you getting upset? Or do you go like, with a lot of empathy and a lot of sympathy that and be like really soft about it? And because that kind of scares you, that will that make the other person more weak or emotional,
Yeah.
or so that is something that you have to navigate, and I think that can be very challenging. But luckily with us, we found that ground where we could I think we went in the other direction, where we
Yeah.
would always be joking about it, laughing about it. And so I think we found our footing there, that
Yeah.
I think the strength bit of it.
I think
Yeah.
that's I know I have both types of people in my life. There are people who are always telling me, be strong, this is nothing, you can do this, you can do that, etc. And there are people who are always empathetic. But I think the key is, like you said, to find the balance and navigate every situation differently. I know there have been times where you have been like the complete mother hen for me. There have been situations where you had full confidence that I'll be able to navigate something, and you never even blinked an eye. Ki, okay, she's going into the community all by herself, so what? You know? So I've experienced both with you, and I fully agree. I think that is the primary reason that we have been so close all along, even through this thing, because while there are a lot of people who started communicating with me because of my visual impairment, there have also been people who kind of lost touch. One of the reasons being that they didn't know what to do with me, how to communicate with me, how to be around me. And because you were able to find that balance and find the humor in it and take it in stride every day differently, I think that's why we were able to kind of stick together all these years. So,
No,
but
I think
when, yeah, go
I said that was all you, like the humor
ahead.
bit and the strength.
Bad jokes is so I'm told all the time. But yes, jokes do help. Acha, but tell me this. Of course, it came as a surprise to all of us, including myself and you and everybody. Nobody was expecting it. If I am not wrong, most of us have never been around disabled people as we were growing up, or been very close to them, at least that we'd know how to navigate it. So, what do you think over the years has been your primary learnings or breaking stereotypes, like, or misconceptions which got broken? Like, how did things that you had to learn along the way, or learned by default, being around me?
I think, I mean, in general, if you think about it, I think the biggest misconception, uh, I wouldn't say misconception, but I think a belief, that was broken, was that. Again, having that belief in the other person that they're going to be able to do it and they're going to be able to pull this off, because I think the first instinct is to protect and keep them safe. So I think that is one of the biggest belief that was broken uh, through all of this. And secondly, I think, which is I wouldn't say it was my belief, but I think I've noticed that that's the belief in general of people when it comes to situations like this, is that mostly people are coming from a place of superiority, that that we are coming from a better place, and we are at a better place, and we have more strengths, and we have more skills, and we can contribute more to their life than they can do to ours. So I think that is one of the things that I've seen that happens a lot. So I think that is one of the misconceptions, because that, like we've started, like even in terminology and everything, if you see that that has changed over the years, right? Like from just saying disabled, or using other kind of words, we switch to differentially able, then visually impaired. So even in terms of terminology, I think there has been more and more acceptance of they're different, but they're not like lesser than.
Yes,
So I think that was one of the biggest misconception over the years. Yeah.
nice. Tell me, so I know initially the emotional and mental barriers that happen when it's a proven fact, right? We know that the more we are able to relate with someone, the easier it is to kind of interact with them and open up to them and communicate with them. So I know it's slightly different for us because we were friends already before that, but still, when you come across someone as different, there are all these emotional barriers and mental barriers that come up, right? It gets difficult to kind of navigate your own emotions and what can I say, what can I not say, what can I do, what can I not do. Did you ever experience something like that? If you did, like, how did you navigate through it?
In terms of, I think they were very small changes that happened. I think which I realized much later, like after you left from here, and then I think that is when I realized the changes that had come over the years, but I hadn't realized that I was making them, or those were happening while we were together. I think one of the instinct was, counting the steps or telling, okay, a step is coming, and then these many steps up and down, and I think one of the strongest, the biggest thing that I noticed was that I had, subconsciously stopped looking at surroundings, and I don't mean it in a negative way, because because if I didn't notice it, then it wasn't, affecting me
Yeah,
or holding me back. So I don't want you to take it in that way.
yeah, yeah.
But I think one of the things that I stopped doing was, I think, looking at the moon and the stars, because I knew you couldn't look at the stars, so I had stopped looking at them completely. And then once you left, and then people started pointing out stars, and then I looked up at the stars, and I'm like, oh my god, I haven't looked at stars for the longest of time, or just looking up,
Wow.
noticing these things, because somewhere I was thinking, oh, Sakshi can't, won't be able to see it. And if I see it and if I talk about it, then she's going to feel bad about it. So might as well
Yeah.
get it, and don't. So,
Also, I would add another reason, like whenever you were walking with me, I feel like you had to see for two people. You're watching out for yourself, and sometimes more importantly, you're watching out for me. Like, she's going to bump into something, there's a step coming up, there is a step down, step up, all of that. So I think along with me, you also kind of lost the habit of looking up, and you were always looking down just to watch out for me. Could that be also one of the things?
yeah, could be. And plus walking like really slow. I think I'm such a slow walker now. Now that I'm moved left, but I'm getting left behind all the time. Like people are walking past me, they're walking so fast, and I'm such a slow walker now. I'm walking very slowly. People are pointing it out, left behind all the time.
Wow. Yeah. So emotionally, mentally, I think what I'm hearing is that to be more organic, to not overthink it and just be yourself and ready to kind of adapt, uh, could help get through the initial barriers that we feel when, being around a disabled person.
Yeah, I think just being open to changes, and not. I mean, change is not always bad, right? Everybody says it, but does anybody really believe it?
Not to brag or anything, but I feel like being with me has opened all of us to so many crazy changes, including myself, obviously. Being with blindness, let's just say that includes me and you guys and everybody. It's like we have to accommodate every single day, a little bit here, a little bit there, that more often than not, we are much more comfortable with changes than somebody who has, generally we might have been otherwise. Because at least I can speak for myself. I feel like if I would not have learned to risk myself and take care of all these changes every single day, I might have been very uncomfortable with all the big things that I've done in life, right? I would have had that mental barrier, I won't be able to do it because it's new. But because we had to do so many new things every other day, accommodating a bit more, because my vision loss was also gradual, right? So I remember initially it was a different experience. Then second time around when I came back from the hospital, you had put up all these bulbs all around your building, and I was like, did she just do that for me? I had no clue. I never asked. I don't know. But it was a gradual process for all of us. Now, I know
Yeah.
you've already mentioned a few things, but do you want to add to the list of everyday, the little things that you had to do or that you think helped you help me? The everyday tricks and tips, like one is, letting me know there's a step coming up. You mentioned that, and then, stuff like that. Do you want to add anything to that list?
I think, with the visual impairment, one of the biggest challenge that comes up is mobility. Because I think that has to be the biggest thing that where you suddenly get limited because you were able to walk around freely or run and or run errands for that matter, or walk around your own house, I think so.
So
And
true.
crossing the road, so just everyday thing, I think mobility becomes one of the biggest challenges, because everything else, I think, I wouldn't say easier, but relatively easier to adapt to.
I
But
agree. I can vouch for that.
yeah, so I think because we've had instances also, right, when you were coming and then you suddenly disappeared, but because you'd fallen into a drain and you couldn't, and we're like, where did Sakshi go? She was just walking towards us, and now Sakshi is nowhere to be seen, and then we then Sakshi suddenly
Mr. India.
so open potholes and drains, I think, in that way. And again, I remember we were still laughing it off. It's not a small thing, it's a serious thing. And lives get lost because of such
Yeah.
instances, when people get like hurt really really bad because of something like that. And we've seen people who are with all, like, hands and eyesight and limbs and everything, working fine, and then they get hurt really bad. At least they'll break their bones or something, but then you came out of it, and then we sat in the car, and then we were laughing about it. So I don't know why do we laugh so much about everything. I think it's just our coping
Yeah,
mechanism in life
probably.
in general also, that we just laugh,
Yes.
which also
Yeah.
offends people, right? But
Yeah, a lot.
yeah, so
Insensitive.
yeah. So
Remember that time Taj Mahal. Oh God. So of course in the moment it was traumatizing for me. But honestly, the moment the initial trauma is over and you look at it like in the bigger picture, it's so funny. Like a grown ass woman got lost in Taj Mahal and she ended up like it was it was really funny. I mean, weird funny. Crazy things happen, man.
yeah,
Okay, so yeah, I agree. Mobility is definitely the hardest, also because for most other things, there are we have a lot better tools. People are leveraging the new age technology and everything. And for example, reading. I know there are brilliant tools out there which can help me read a book. That was my other love of life, reading books. And I can still do that if I wanted to do it the digital way.
yeah,
I do that. But mobility is definitely something which is like getting improved at a very snail pace,
yeah, yeah.
hopefully. Yeah,
Mobility and accessibility, both.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
because
Can I give you an anecdote? I feel like I
yeah,
tell this to everybody. This movie came out, Shrikant, about
yeah, yeah,
the
mm,
visually impaired Indian guy.
yeah.
It's on Netflix and it is not audio described. The date came out, I'm like, oh, I want to watch Shrikant. And I can't watch Shrikant because it's not audio described and it's about a blind person. But of course, at the end of the day, I have to tell myself it's fine, it's for the masses.
But we
It's,
should write to them. We should tell them that. I don't think we should
yeah, yeah, I
just about
suppose we
it.
can.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
should. 100%. I think
But
one of
who?
the
Like the guy, the real life guy, or the directors, or the producers? Who do we talk to?
everybody. Why not? Like, talk to
That
everybody about
is.
it. Everybody is involved in the process. I think everybody should be aware of it. Like, the
Hmm,
real person, the director, Netflix also, for that matter. I think they should also know about it, that they've done this, and then
that's
be
a
more
very good
sensitive.
point.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do that. So, okay. Tell me another thing. This is my favorite question, and I have wanted to ask you this ever since I thought of it. Okay, so like I mentioned in the beginning, you have always found that somehow I felt everything around you, okay? I have felt like you really have had my back. I can close my eyes and just be around you and you'll take care of the whole situation and myself. And there have been times where you've shown utmost confidence ki I know she's gonna, even if you were faking it, okay? There's a very good chance you were like hoping to God, okay, I hope this works out or something. I don't know, but did you ever have to like consciously work on finding that balance between caring and not being overbearing? Because you were never overbearing and yet caring at the perfect level. So, did you have to consciously ever, toe that line, or did it come organically to you?
I'm constantly being surprised by you saying this, that when you said mother hen and now you're saying that caring. I I don't know where that is coming from, because in my head the role I had assumed was always being the she can do it herself, she's going to do it, like being
And
the
that was like not, I'm not busting your bubble at all. That was the reality of it, like most of the time. And it helped me in a positive way. That's why I'm bringing it up. I like in retrospect, I would have thought, ki, oh my God, she's leaving a blind person alone. Oh my God, how cruel is she? Or some shit like that. Sorry, excuse my language. But but in reality, having experienced it, I honestly, again, I've told this to multiple people. It is because you gave me that space and it were not overbearing that I have been able to achieve a lot of things that I would not have expected that I would. So yeah, I do agree with you. You were that person which you think you were, but sometimes you were really like excessively caring without even talking about it. I don't know if you did it consciously or it just happened. Please tell us, enlighten us. I want to know.
it's because I'm such a beautiful human being. What can I say? I'm just a beautiful person inside out. Didn't
Oh
have
my
to try.
God. You are. I fully agree. Even if you didn't do it consciously, for everybody who's listening, I need you to know from my perspective, she somehow found the perfect balance between caring and overbearing, caring and supportive. And you don't have to look after a blind person all the time, 24/7. You can just let them be sometimes and find their way around it and yet be there. They should know that you look out if you ask, if you reach out. So another thing I loved about you was along the same lines that you did not offer help unless asked for it, and the moment I would ask for it, it was always there. Like you'll find me a solution one way or another. But you did not like go out of your way to coddle me ki, नहीं नहीं Sakshi, I know you are the CEO, but I will do this work for you because, oh, poor thing. Like, none of that. You let me own up to that role, do that job, learn on it. Absolutely loved it. So,
Yeah, I think that came from you also, because I think if over time that you had seemed like the person who needs a lot of care and support, or just navigation around things in life. I think then that would have come your way. But you seemed like the person who did not need it so much. And I think also use this opportunity to say that everybody needs different kind of support, right? So because for you, you did not need that kind of support. You were by default a stronger person. I don't even know, like stronger in.
physically and practically, yes, emotionally, mentally, I need all the support in the world. You know that better than anyone based on our
Yeah,
100,000 hours of calls.
yeah, exactly. So for some people it might just be the opposite. It
Yeah.
might be that mentally they're stronger, but physically they need more direction and more support.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on person to person, and it has to come from the person themselves, that what kind of support they need. Sometimes it's guessing, sometimes it's talking about it. Mostly it's talking about it. and that can really help. So you have to keep talking about it. You don't have to shy away from conversations. You ask questions even if they make you uncomfortable. Keep asking, keep having those conversations. For us it worked better, I think, because we were friends. I think with families it gets more complicated, because I think
Definitely.
conversations are more difficult with families, but with friends it's
Mm,
easier. So I think we always had it a little in our favor, ki,
mm.
that we were able to have conversations because we were such talkers from a young age anyway, and we still are.
We still are. As
Three hours
talking
of
about talking, was ever communication में कभी barrier आया for you? Like of course I can't pick up on visual cues, right? So it has to be very verbal. For example, so things like that. Did my visual impairment ever impact the way you could or could not communicate with me? If so, what would be some tricks that you would suggest?
in everyday life. Yes, I think it was, it was a gradual realization that, how much can you see? Because I think, what we talk about also, when you hear that a person is visually impaired or blind, then you automatically tend to assume, 100% blindness. And
Yeah,
you also, it happened very gradually and it happened
yeah,
in phases, right? So I think the first thing to understand was to understand how much can you see, from where can you see, or, what is the scope of your vision, and adjusting accordingly, like, okay, she can see here, she can't see here, she can see this much, she can't see this much. Just like, I think day before yesterday also I texted you and I asked you, right? So can are you able to read screenshots, or
yeah,
just understanding that what is happening, how much can be seen, how much cannot be seen. So those were the things, I think, gradually, where you try to build your understanding, and then the second part is like adapting to it. So I think that is the process that was there. But yeah, of course you have to kind of adjust, to different uh, cues and different ways of communicating. But
yeah,
again, ask the other person. I think if you're confused, then it's better to just ask the person and do it. Because, and I think I took a very long time, and I'm talking about it like it was very easy and it's all, because we're all talking about it in retrospect, right? So it
yeah.
seems like
Yeah.
this girl knew everything and had everything. She seems so put together, like taking a training or something. But I think while it was happening, because we're talking about more than a decade's time, right?
Yeah,
While it
yeah,
was happening, it wasn't so clear, and no such clarity was there. Because I remember, researching about it. I remember joining a support group on Facebook, and then reading up what other people who were going through a similar thing, what do they have to say, what treatments are they getting, what doctors are they saying, also exploring that, because I remember thinking maybe we don't have something in India, maybe there's something available abroad, and maybe we can go
do you
there.
remember that one conversation? I think not very long ago. We were sitting at bucket list office after work, and you guys were calculating if we had to spend like 5 crore rupees to send her to US to get some operation. Will we do it? Can we do it? We were actually playing out that whole scenario. You guys were.
Yeah, because sometimes as a third world country, you think maybe it's not here, but maybe if we
Yeah,
research enough, we find out enough,
yeah,
then there has to be something, because we're so ahead in technology, we're so ahead in
yeah.
medicine and medical science. Maybe people in the other parts of the world have figured it out. So
Yeah,
you
I
kind of
remember reaching out to American and UK doctors back when I was at home in India. So yeah, there's always that hope that okay, maybe we don't know, maybe someone else will know.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
true.
cute. Yeah. So then those kind of support. So I think in that way, like looking for support groups, talking to different people, researching, of course, because one person can only tell you so much. There are other people out there, there are other resources out there. So those were the ways to, basically accommodate things, and then understand how to communicate, and what would be a good way. I wouldn't even say best, but it
Yeah.
wasn't best.
Yeah, because every every condition, every visual impairment, every caregiver, they're all very different now because like no
Yeah,
two human beings are the same. So
yeah.
no two human bodies are the same. No two visual impairments are usually very similar to each other. So yeah, you're right. I mean, we have to communication is the key. Asking the person what they need. So speaking of support groups and stuff, working together, being friends, we have navigated a lot of public places and group settings also. Um, yeah, a lot of them. I was gonna name a few, but then I thought perhaps maybe I should not. But okay, we've navigated a lot of group settings. Um, in terms of others or public spaces or public play, do you have any thoughts what other people you've observed other people do right or wrong? Um, and if you have any memories in that sense.
I, Sakshi, we live, I mean, you lived, I still live in a third world country, right?
Yeah.
And with us, because something so personal and so happened, that we were able to challenge, maybe our ableist perspective, or where we came
Yeah,
from. I think otherwise, chances are we also wouldn't have noticed it.
definitely.
So, there were so many things that were missing and still are missing. I remember going to the market, and we thought that, maybe you can take the ramp instead of taking the stairs. But do you remember there was a chain on the ramp?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is not accessible, not for a visually impaired
Yeah.
person, and not for a person who's on a wheelchair either, because
Correct.
how, like, this is literally built for them, right? In the name
Yeah.
of accessibility, and you've
Mm.
literally pulled a chain around it. And then how is this accessible? So, those things. And then I remember when we used to take the metro, then we started noticing, what's the term for it? I'm forgetting. The spot.
Um, the assistance they provide assistance. Oh, the tactile flooring you're talking about.
Yeah, the tactile flooring. So we started
Yeah.
noticing that, and then I remember we used to walk on it and then see where they
Yeah.
lead, and they not
Yeah.
necessarily lead you to the right places. So, and sometimes they would just abruptly end.
Yeah.
And then, if a person is visually impaired is by, on their own, where do they go? They're just stranded in the middle of nowhere. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
that.
remember there was the in CP they also have like tactile flooring इधर footpath के side like stores के सामने वाले lane में they have tactile flooring and I remember one time I was there with some college friends. I was walking on it and suddenly there's a pothole in the middle of it and it's open. Like you are literally leading blind people into the pothole. Like
Fight,
how
fight, fight. We can't do anything about them, just get rid of them.
like this
Bring them
accessibility
back.
it is too much. And let's just put them in a pothole. Yeah, it's really funny. Oh God.
Blind people unite, and how?
Oh my God. Yes, yes. So yeah, our public services, public spaces, to काफी,
Even offices, and for that matter, even our
yeah,
office was not very accessible, if we're
yeah.
being honest.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but
Well, they're
we,
all old constructions, even new constructions. Like you said, the level of awareness that we are talking about as individuals is definitely not there at the systemic level. Like, I remember I went to college, first year exams around, right? I had started losing my vision. Next year around, when I went to them, to the administration, and I told them, okay, I still want to continue studying, tell me how. All they could tell me was, we'll give you a scribe when you have to give an exam. That's all they could tell me. They couldn't tell me about audio lessons. Like they didn't have their own individual awareness also, being part of such a big university of our country. So at a very systemic level, the awareness is missing. So again,
and it is one of the leading universities of the country. It's not even
yeah,
like we're talking about some private university. It's one of the leading
exactly.
universities in the country, and they don't
Yeah.
have the resources or the understanding on the capacity also. Because,
Yeah.
like I said, that we went through it, so we know. But
Yeah.
but at a systemic level, somebody has to talk to them about it, and somebody has to
Mm,
make them aware that okay, you need to know this. I
yeah.
mean, be better, do better.
Yeah. It's a chicken and hen problem also. Chicken and egg problem also.
I'm the
Um, Sorry,
as you
not
mentioned.
hen, that's you. Chicken and egg problem that because there are not a lot of disabled people, blind people in their system, so they don't think their system needs to be optimized for
Yeah.
blind people. And because it's not optimized for blind people, there are even less blind people in the system. So it's a, but at the end of the day, the power lies with the system primarily more than individual. So I think that's where the change needs to begin for sure. What about on individual level? Can you remember anything that someone else might have done or not done, which you feel you would like to educate the rest of us about? I saw this person do this and maybe not do that. How about that Zara incident? Do you want to share that?
Oh yeah, I remember. How could I even forget about that? Was such a big thing. Yeah, so when you had to go to the changing room, and then I was going to take you, and they just had like a one person, in the room at a time policy, and then oh, I still like my blood still boils. And is our okay.
Okay, she's
Get
clearly
so
really
upset
pissed.
about this. No, you can't go one person at a time. You're like, no, she can't see. No, she still has to go on her own. Adi, she can't see. No, she still has to go alone. I mean, what do you mean? Can't you
Yeah.
understand? Company policy. I remember him saying it's company policy. Like,
Yeah.
have more empathy. Not empathy, just have like a little sense and logic, and then you'll be
Yeah.
able to understand. It doesn't need to be a company policy also. Like at a
Yeah.
human also, if you understand. I think at the time they were thinking we might be faking it also.
Yeah, yeah. I
So,
think that's what I was thinking. I don't know what makes me more sad that they expect young girls or women to lie about things like blindness just to get into a changing room, like a trial room.
think
I don't know why they expect women to do that.
that's right.
Like, what would we do with two women in trial room?
Think
What is
about
the what will make out? That's their
it. So,
problem.
yeah, every man's fantasy. I think he was like really averse to the idea or something. Homophobic.
I don't I would never understand. Like, why? Ugh, I keep saying, processes are supposed to be for people. People are not supposed to be for the processes. I don't know what happens to these people. So yeah,
What
I
do they
brought that up because I remember how pissed off you were. You wrote to them on, I don't know what,
I
Twitter
had
or something.
to the HR. I posted on
Uh,
Twitter, and then everything happened, and then they gave some sorry as explanation, and not even like a proper apology about it, and nothing
yeah,
happened, which just made me even more irritated. And then I just started boycotting Zara. After that, I remember, and I
yeah,
split their guts. And then we realized it's not just a one store problem, but it's a problem across many stores also, because I remember a lot of people also spoke about it, and then more and more we heard more and more stories, and I also
yeah,
read not just nationally, internationally also. I read it. The attitude has been a problem in clothing stores.
yeah.
So yeah,
It's
in
as if
general,
the
so
clothes are made of gold or something. I don't know what they're so protective of.
yeah, again, like systemic problem, right? So if it's not just happening in one country, it's happening across countries and in the same industries across different stores. I think again the problem lies with the within the system, and that needs to be challenged by people. Because what do you expect? Like, okay, all visually impaired people just wear red all the time. Oh, okay, now your hands are not working, you will wear yellow. Now legs not working, you wear blue, or what, like wear placards on your head. Like, what do you expect them to
Yeah,
do? Like carry it like a badge of honor on their t-shirts or something, that okay, yes, I'm not lying, I'm being truthful. Because
yeah,
not all disabilities are visible, but they're still there. So
yeah,
what is the way around it, other than believing the person? Because then you can't remember when at the registration also, when I got Again, I got into a fight with the SDM, the sub district magistrate.
Ah,
And then because he also said something so insensitive, and I'm there, I am getting married and I'm getting offended.
yeah.
while- and I'm picking a fight with him that how dare you, you know, he said something like, if she can't see, how can she be an eyewitness? And I'm like,
Yeah.
how can you, say
He
such a
went
thing?
quite literal. Okay. If
Ah,
she's blind, her brain and ears and mouth, nothing works probably. And she can't be a witness.
yeah, and like, I mean, okay, fine. Even if you, which he did not, I'm not saying that he did, even if you can, produce supporting document to say, okay, this is a government mandate and this needs to be intact, which he did not, there's always a nicer way to put it or
Yeah.
a nicer way to talk to people about it. So I think that is what really pissed me off. And again, it has nothing to do with literal eyesight. Like you said, you can still hear, you can still feel it's me and the person I want to, um, I'm going to be marrying now. So
Yeah.
it
It's
had
like
nothing.
just because, like, for certain things, I would understand that, having the sight is very important for certain things. It's an absolute mandate that you need to be able to see it, to have an opinion about it or have a thought about it. But for most things, you don't. I mean, sure, it's good to have, but it's not a mandate. There are four other senses that work perfectly fine, and you can still put two and two together with those four other senses and be able to be a witness to something that I can 20 years down the line tell people, yes, it was the same guy. He felt the same, he had the same voice,
What an
everything.
opportunity for me to switch guys from time to time, right? She doesn't. My eyewitness only will not know. I switch men, multiple husbands, seven husbands.
Oh, yeah, there was a movie like that, right?
Yes,
Seven Killings
you,
or something.
no, no, Hugo, the book, Evelyn Hugo, I think.
Yes, yes.
Seven husbands.
Seven murders. No, seven wives, seven
Husband.
husbands. Yeah,
Really
yeah.
saying seven husbands. Just hear me. You can't see, but you can hear, right?
Yeah, that is true. Okay, let's close this. I have last two questions. As a caregiver, remember all the time you spent with me, all the things you had to do, all the support you had to provide. And I know you want to play it down in your head, but don't play it down. Please play it up at this point. Think of all those things and tell me, like, go crazy on this one, okay? Sky is the limit. Think out of the box. It can be something very small, very big. Think if technology could take over one part of that caregiving, that would make it easier for you and for, your visually impaired friend, which is me in this case. If technology could take over one thing, anything, what would be the first thing you would want to kind of hand over?
To technology.
Hmm.
I mean, apart from being able to see, obviously, I'm guessing.
Apart from that, yes,
I
yes,
think that was
that one is out of question.
a technological advancement that ever has to be made. I think it's like making eyes in a lab and then just putting them in, you know.
It is happening, but it's a very slow process. I don't think it'll be happening in my lifetime. Yeah. Okay, apart from that.
Let me think. Again, I think one of the things which I said before also, I think mobility is a big challenge. So I think uh, that is something that makes everybody's life a bit challenging. And I did see it with yours because, just like I said, like coming to work, going back home from work, in terms of like how, like you used to take cabs and everything also, I remember. So, that also became a concern because if it was too late in the night, then we'd be dropping you back home. So safety, mm, in terms of safety, I think that is a very concerning area for me. I think that is technology. And I think you're working on a great thing here because with sensible, I think trying to handle the mobility part only, right? That person should be able to navigate uh, on. by themselves and be able to just lead an independent life. I think one of the things you value most in life is like your own independence at the end of the day, right? To be
Yep.
able to do things on your own. And you know community is important, conversations, friends, family, everybody is important, but you don't want to be a burden on anybody else also at the end of the day. Even if you're not being that, sometimes you can feel like you're being a burden on them. So
Yep.
to be able to just go where you want, even if it's to just pick up a glass of water and have a glass of water by yourself.
Yeah.
uh, because in your home, of course, you can understand and things, and you've kept things in a certain way. But if
Yeah.
are you in a public space, then can you do that? I don't think so.
No.
um, and I think that would be the first in my mind, because with other things like you mentioned before, I think you talk back is there, so it's reading back to you, which are also, yes, one of the changes that came in my life is also I started using talk back, not because of a need, because I got to know it's a resource, and like, why not use it to my advantage, because I'm feeling too lazy with Cambridge's, because they give us a lot of readings and we have to read a lot of books. And I sometimes I get so lazy that you have 500 pages worth of reading to do at night. So I did text you
Yes.
once, I told you also.
Shortcut.
Yeah, I would just like switch on talkback, and I'm just, I get a audio book for free, so I'm reading.
I remember, so Rajneesh also used to, he tried using it for a bit. I don't know how far it went. Yeah,
Yeah, he still does, because he can't read or write, so he does use talkback to understand what the other.
imagine.
Yeah, so
Accessibility for everyone. Yeah.
yeah, so because he can't read, he did not have the uh, system from any support from the government, or just like a victim of the situation,
Mm.
that he was not able to go to a school properly, and then he's not able to read and write. So see, one solution, multiple people are benefiting from it.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I think
A
with your
lot
thing.
of our mainstream technology came out of the need of accessibility for all the associated sighted caregivers out there, sighted friends, family, partners, husbands, wives. Um, so it can get exhausting if you're doing it exhaustively 24/7, for example, or stuff like that. How do you take care of yourself? How do you take those little mental breaks or breathers if you're in a situation where you are like that caregiver for someone visually impaired? Any thoughts on that?
I think, like I mentioned before, also it was one of the things that helped was joining the support group. I think hearing other people talk about the same thing really puts your mind to ease. Uh, and you get to learn from other people's experiences on how they are navigating through something like that, while getting more information about things. So I think building a community of people who are there going through similar life situations, I think that is uh, one of the best thing that you can do if you are a caregiver, if one of your loved ones is going through something similar. So I think yeah, just talk it out, talk to people, have that community. Don't be shy to talk about it. Basically, don't again, don't think of it as something that is limiting you. It's like a disability um, i- in itself. And then because a lot of time, a lot of shame also comes along with it, I think, especially for
Yeah.
family, that they are ashamed to talk about it, and they're they
I think
I think.
from the people around me, my learning is that the biggest reluctance they have to reach out to, say, support groups is that they don't want to make me feel bad. Like if I'm reaching out for support, that means you are hard on me. No, no, I don't want you to think that you're hard on me. No, no. I'm
Yeah,
Superman and it's very easy to take care of you or be around you or support you or those little things. It's just hard for them to kind of let me feel
step.
vulnerable or let themselves feel vulnerable. It's Yeah, any suggestions for
Yeah,
those?
I think in our culture also, yeah, like culturally also, if we talk about it, I think one of the biggest thing is, of course, for a girl is to eventually get married, find the right partner. So I think somehow talking about it also, means that you're making your child's weaknesses, you're putting it out there and letting the world know, and then that would
Yeah,
kind of affect her prospects of getting married to a good man. So I think that is also, you
yeah,
just hide it and you don't have those conversations. And second, of course, it comes from a place of vulnerability also. Like I said in the beginning, like I was also in denial for the longest of time. There's just, thinking that maybe if I don't accept it and if I don't talk about it, it will go away on its own. And then, then once it's all done and gone, then we'll have like a happy memory about how we rode into the sunset together or
yeah.
something. So,
I had the same imagination.
yeah, I think that's the human instinct, right? That you
Mm,
first, what are the five stages of grief, that we talk about, like denial, and then anger and negotiation, and then, so you kind of go through all the five stages here as well. You kind of,
yeah.
you're going through your thoughts, and then you're negotiating, and then finally, then you accept it, and then something good comes out of it. So if you can just jump to the fifth stage.
Oh, that would be perfect. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is a journey. All right,
But
I
what
think we
was your question?
can.
I forgot your question.
It
We
was
just
this
get
only, like, how do you cope? How do you cope as a caregiver? Because it can get exhausting and frustrating and difficult and restricting. How do you cope? How do you take breathers?
yeah, like accept, uh, talk about it, seek support, seek help, build a community, nurture the community, and communicate. I think those are the things that you should do. Research
Yes.
also, research heavily about what are the tools available, what are the resources available, which I think it, I'm not saying I did it, because I think Bhai did it, your brother,
Yeah.
that for you, but like we had somebody who was doing that for you. So that
Yeah.
was helpful. So yeah.
I think you all of you had divided your chores. Okay, this
Yeah.
girl needs this support system. Okay, I'm gonna do this bit because this one is better for me. I'll do this bit. I don't think you did it consciously, but it somehow happened, turned out that way for me.
Mine was just spending time with you, because I think when we were about to do this, and I was thinking, and then I thought maybe I'm the person who spent the most time with you, like in
Yep.
everyday things, like every day, because we were together from say 10, 9 a.m. in the morning,
Yeah,
and we used to be with each other till 11, 12,
yeah,
midnight. And then if you went home,
absolutely.
you just slept, right? And then he got up, and
Yeah.
then we used to work weekends also at the time.
First few years we were like living together practically. We would just go home to sleep.
Yeah, and that was the period where you were going through all of that, right? Because
Yes,
I think
I
you
remember the
were,
second year was my biggest episode. First year we started bucket list, and like at the end of the first year only, my other episode happened where I had to switch over to voiceover, and I wrote you guys this email about I need some time to kind of regroup and understand how to move forward and stuff
and then
like
you were
that.
back to work after a month, I remember, because everybody was like, 1 month she's back, because everybody was like really surprised, like
Yeah,
not in our immediate group, because everybody knows how you are,
yeah,
but outside people, I think it was a very surprising thing that, something like this happens to you, and then you're back to work, so quickly. And then, of course, you did take some time. I think when the third episode, I think after COVID, then I think that took a hit on you. Uh,
definitely.
and that was the most difficult time, I think, yeah, that you went through. I think that was the big most difficult time. So I think, yeah, that in that time also, because we physically couldn't be with each other also,
Yeah.
and we had been physically together for, and not in a like a sexual way, but yeah, physically been together.
To the dismay of that Zara guy. But no, we have not been like that together. For anybody who might be wondering,
We might never say never. Long way to
you
go.
never know. Of course, we
Yes.
have a very long life to live.
You don't have any hurdle in your way, but I have one.
Okay. On that note, we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
अभी थोड़ा digress हो रहा है. तो- Okay. ठीक है. I think we'll wrap it up. Thank you everyone for listening. I think we should both just say bye to everyone. Since our
Maybe
it's our first time, guys, be kind to both of us. Don't be ass. So yeah, okay. Bye bye. Hope this helped somebody out there. Laugh at things, normalize things. It's not a big deal. You can talk to a disabled person, blind person. It's no big deal. Just be open and just chill. Take a chill
yeah,
pill.
rope, but you can do it.
Yeah,
And don't skip over the parts, just listen to the whole thing and give us compliments.
lots of them. Okay, bye.
Bye.